I had a feeling this weekend was going to be one of the best weekends we could have asked for, right? You got to sit back. You got to watch all these games play out, knowing the Browns had already clinched their playoff spot. We had to sit back, let everybody else play, and hell kind of broke loose a little bit. Didn't go necessarily the way that you wanted to. Damn, is Baltimore good. But it works out from the fact of that you get to play a game this weekend that is absolutely meaningless. I'm happy it's not at home. Nobody will be at that game down there in Cincinnati. I think Browns fans might make the trip, but you get to sit back, relax, and enjoy and do a whole bunch of nothing this weekend for the Cleveland Browns. Playoff scenarios abound. You already know you're facing a team for the second time, no matter who it is, in the first round of the playoffs. I just can't stop saying that enough. The Browns in the first round of the playoffs, baby. We got it. Gonna get ready for it. National championship is set. Cavs are in action. Yeah, we'll talk about those Ohio State Buckeyes too. We got it all for you. First show of 2024. And here we are, right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. It is Tuesday, not Monday. It feels like a Monday, but it is, in fact, a Tuesday. A 2 for Tuesday we'll get to coming up in a second. Happy 2024 to all. Ryan, Happy New Year to you and yours.
Happy New Year's, Matt.
We made it here. We're good. First show of the year. It's going to be our best show of the year. You got no choice because it is the only show of the year. Got a lot coming up. We'll get to time up. We'll get to our morning update as well. I'm going to have you put in the morning update. We got to talk NFL officiating again. What a screw up. What a massive screw up from the NFL this weekend. We'll get a lot of Browns this morning, too. We know this weekend, it's finally so, like, of all the things that I've ever asked for as a Browns fan, of all the things that I get to see other teams get to enjoy, playing a meaningless last regular season game on the positive side of it is something on that list I had been waiting for, and I'll get that this weekend coming up for the Cleveland Browns. Biggest question surrounding is who are you going to play, who are you not going to play, and I trust me, I could give you the list of guys that you don't need suiting up Sunday. You don't need them suiting up on Sunday, but it gets a little conflicted because, like, Joe Flacco, I feel fine sitting. That's why Jeff Driscoll is now here, by the way. Didn't know he signed. He's might play, might be PJ Walker, who knows. So you're not going to play Flacco. And I'm not worried about that because this guy was sitting on his couch for half the season, came in, played just fine. I'm not worried about the rust with him. Don't need Denzel Ward out there. Don't need David Njoku out there. You're not going to see Amari. I mean, the list is going to be long. Teller, Bitonio. You're going to have to play somebody. There are players that are going to have to play. And I get to Myles Garrett. Because I thought about this question, and not to completely throw off our 2 for Tuesday, because Lord knows we've done 3 for Tuesday in the past too. Would you play Myles Garrett this weekend knowing that he has Defensive Player of the Year potentially on the line? Would you play Myles Garrett this weekend if it meant that he was going to go win Defensive Player of the Year? As this weekend went on, and we'll talk about the Detroit situation, because I really think Dan Campbell just on a silver platter walked it up and said, here you go, coach. Here you go, Kevin Stefanski. Here's Coach of the Year. It's not because they got screwed by the officials. It's more that he kept going for it. Like, dude, kick the extra point, go to overtime. You know what I mean? And I got a bit of a hot take on Dan Campbell. You want it?
Yeah, or should we save it?
It's up to you. I mean, why are you running that play? You know what I mean? Like, I get that people could be angry and say the officials need to do their job. And yes, okay, it's been a long-standing debate on this show about the NFL officials and the job that they do. But in that scenario, why are you running that complicated of a play? And again, it's from the base, which people will tell me that I'm insane, and I guess I'm like shifting the blame away from the officials, which I wanted to be clear. I'm blaming the officials. They screwed up. They screwed up bad in that game. But there's some blame that you could put on Dan Campbell to say, don't even put yourself in that scenario. Don't even create that by running a regular play. By choosing the decision, and I know Ben Johnson's the offensive coordinator, so maybe it falls on him. But by running that complicated of a play, you open yourself up to mistakes. you open yourself up to exactly what happened. The officials screwed it up, and who said they were playing, or, not playing, but who was eligible and all that other kind of, you open yourself up to that. So if I really wanted to be critical about it, there's some blame that need to go that way anyway. The fact that he didn't kick the extra point even after the penalty, Kevin Stefanski is one coach of the year. But I wonder about Myles Garrett. He is now the betting favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. There's going to be this long, drawn-out outrage about he's not going to be in the sack total and the pass rush win rate. How much does that matter? And I guess I don't sit here feeling like extremely confident that he's going to win Defensive Player. I'm pretty sure he's going to win it. I think he's going to win it. He's not run away with it. But I wonder about a game like this on Sunday, right? Where TJ Watt is going to play. They need a win to get in. And we got all the playoff scenarios. I'm going to run through those in a little bit. Micah Parsons, I don't think he's going to. I think Dallas is clinched, right? They're good. Or no.
No, because Philly lost. Now I think now
they can win the division.
They're tied right now, I believe. But I believe because tiebreaker, Dallas is winning that division right now.
Okay.
So they both have.
So they're fighting for home field,
yeah.
not the bye.
49ers clinched.
49ers clinched the bye. So I would assume maybe Micah Parsons. I don't know. And then it comes back to the risk versus reward. Because watching this season and being a Browns fan, what's your first gut feeling? Somebody's going to get hurt, right? There's no way watching how this season is played out that you don't have a fear that there's yet another injury to come. And the money move, and I think the move that is going to be made is they're going to sit Myles Garrett. For Kevin Stefanski's job, for this team, yes, you sit him. And Defensive Player of the Year is not quite the same as playoff wins, right? There's an individual thing. But I just kind of crossed my mind about, we're also jumping the gun. He could play that game, get a couple of sacks, and not get hurt. That's that possibility, too. I think the right move is to sit Myles Garrett, though. Yeah? You're not even thinking about it, right?
It's not even really a thought for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Not for a second about him in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
No. I mean, of course, that's something you go and talk to him about as a coach. You got to understand, could be. We hope to think that these next couple seasons, Myles will continue to be in that conversation. If
you would
not
like to
lead
think
the
so,
race.
right?
But for something, especially something he's never won before, and no matter what he says, that's an award that every guy wants to win on the defensive side of the ball. It just goes so long for your Hall of Fame campaign. Not that Myles will maybe even need it, but I mean, no, this is a no-brainer, right? You get to the playoffs with this horrible injury bug that you somehow managed to overcome. There's no point in tampering any chance that you already have. You made the playoffs, you're set, rest your guys, and let's go in fully healthy. And
I think that's what they're going to do. And we'll hear from Coach Stefanski coming up in a minute about how they're going to approach this process. How are they going to get through on deciding who's going to play or not? Because it's easy for us to sit here and just run through the entire list of anybody that actually plays and go, yeah, you're going to sit out. They can't do that. They can't do that. There will be meaningful starters that are playing on Sunday. And I want to, this is another conversation we had too. That can create drama, right? Where a couple of guys that came to mind of a name. MJ Emerson, Greg Newsome, right? Those guys you would like to sit, but you might not be able to, right? Somebody has to suit up for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. I'm available. Just let me know if I need to get down to Cincinnati. Just let me know.
You better start stretching.
By the way, New Year's resolution, great resolution for people out there. Just start stretching.
Oh, yeah, every day.
Just start stretching.
I
started doing it a little bit more. I used to be active in the gym. I love my kids very much. But, yeah, I haven't been in the gym. But anyway, yeah, stretch. Nobody wants to pull a hammy. So let's start stretching. But they got to suit somebody up on Sunday. It kind of goes back to college. When you watch these teams that throttle other teams, it's cool to then just stand on the sidelines. The pros, in preseason, you want to be one of the guys standing on the sidelines, chewing sunflower seeds, hanging out. It's a bit of a status symbol. It's a bit of this is where I stand on this team. Can be sometimes a conversation that needs to be had, nah, man, you got to play. And there might be guys that say, oh, no, I'm of this status. I'm of the other group here that I get to stand on the sideline. He goes, yeah, man, but we need somebody playing this game. And you might have thought you were part of group one. You're actually part of group two. And you got to go out there and play. So there's debates to be had. And I know Kevin Stefanski's going to sit down, he said, with Paul DePodesta and Andrew Berry and talk it through. The cool thing is we got no drama on, oh, hey, there's a roster bonus here. Like Joe Flacco might lose out on another $75,000 because he's not going to get the win. He's not going to play. What about that? What if they started him, let him go 2 drives, and then try to get him to $75,000? That's not happening.
That's fine.
That's not happening.
They better hand the ball off every time.
Yeah, they're not doing that. There's no way they're not doing that. No. And sometimes owners will just pay that out anyway. Like if you became there's stories of guys that were a catch short of a bonus and they give it to him anyway. I'm sure the Browns have no problem paying Joe Flacco all of his money. But the nice drama is you don't have the Russell Wilson crap. What was the other one that I read? There was another one of a guy that probably isn't going to play this weekend that's owed a bonus or something like that. I can't remember what it was. You don't have to worry about any of that. So you can go into it with the wide open slate, completely wide open on who's playing and who's not. So that's the positive for the Browns. It sucks that they lost out on the home field advantage and, the Baltimore, who we'll go around the league. Let's do that this morning, too, as well. We'll go around the league, man. They look impressive. They really do. And this is coming from me as we made our picks on Friday last week about what I thought Baltimore, they have proven me wrong at every single step of the way. And they are not just beating teams like Miami. I mean, they look unstoppable. So that was another nice part. That's over. We're off to this becoming our bye week. And the Browns really do need it. Beyond just not trying to further injuries, Miles dealing with that shoulder. We know Amari Cooper with the heel. I mean, there are a lot of guys that you look at. Joe Batone, I'm assuming his back is still kind of flaring up. You need this week in the worst way, and it comes at a great time. It comes at a great time for the Browns to sit a lot of these guys down and get the rest, but you're still going to have to play somebody on Sunday. You still are going to have to roll out somebody. And I sit there, and I think, Ryan, that you're going to have starters. You are going to have guys that you view as starters on this team. Ethan Posick, I don't know about Posick, but that's a tough thing. And they'll also probably go with Denzel Ward might suit up for that game. And they're going to say, you're not getting in that game unless absolutely all hell breaks loose. And we got 10 guys that go down with injuries, which, again, would just be so on brand for this season. But they got to put somebody out there on Sunday. The nice part, it doesn't matter. The best part, I get to sit back. Doesn't even matter. You let everybody else kind of fight it out. You see where you go. But no matter what, you're either facing the Colts, Houston, or Jacksonville. I think it's going to be Jacksonville. Most likely will be Jacksonville. They're winning, get in with the division. They play the Titans. No real issues there, so it should be all good. Let's hear from Kevin Stefanski. So they did have availability yesterday on the New Year. And Coach was asked a lot of questions surrounding sitting guys or not. First up, here's Coach Stefanski just talking about resting guys this week. Is that the plan? Coach Stefanski, sound courtesy of the Browns.
I think every decision you make, Tony, you're just trying to make what is in the best interest of your football team. Whether you play your guys, rest your guys, and as you know, you can't rest everybody. There's roster limitations to that. So, we took care of business last week. But we have to finish strong. That's our mentality. That's what we're trying to do.
Little coach speak there from Kevin. I mean, you got to finish strong. Every game matters. This game does not matter. It doesn't. And they know that in that building. There were a couple of questions to Coach. Like, do you even try to game plan for Cincinnati? And they got to do something. They'll get, is it going to be PJ Walker? Is it going to be Jeff Driscoll? I don't know. They'll get those guys up to speed, and they'll put in a pretty generic type of game plan, and you figure it out from there. But who cares, right? Nobody cares on that. Next up from Coach Stefanski, how do you go through that deciding of who sits and who plays? Here's Coach from yesterday.
We'll have a plan. Obviously, like I mentioned to you guys before, we want to finish strong. So we'll have a plan moving forward, but I'll update you guys as we get going through the week.
They're going to sit down and they're going to run through the roster and they're going to scratch guys off. And I think there's an element of talking to the players. Hey, do you want to play this or that? And eventually, Coach said he will have the ultimate decision. Final thing from Coach Stefanski, as I mentioned, you're going to face a team that you have already seen. Coach Stefanski, who gets the edge in that matchup, seeing the team you already saw.
I mean, I think we faced all of them. They faced us. So it'll be the second time versus all those opponents. So as you know, we're going to go back and watch those games. They're going to go back and watch the game we played them. So it's similar to a division game in that regard when you play that team for the second time around. But I don't know that there's an advantage to either side.
Is there a team, and you would probably instantly say the Colts, is there a team that you would love to face, Ryan? Of Houston, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. Is Jacksonville the one team you would want to avoid? Trevor Lawrence, shoulder, didn't play. He might play this weekend. I imagine he would. The Colts game it seems so long ago, right? Like, they seem like a spicy team. I guess it's a positive to say this isn't a slam dunk for me.
No.
That I feel confident against all three of them. Now, you're on the road. You and I got into this a little last week. I still think the Browns will be the dog in those games. Maybe not the Colts. But if we go down to Jacksonville or we have to go down to Houston, I would imagine they would be the home favorite. Not by a lot. I think they might get that customary 3. But with Lawrence and Stroud back, I'll call my shot a little here. I think Jacksonville would be 3.5-point home favorite over the Browns. I think Houston would be 1.5 home favorite against the Browns. The Colts, I think the Browns would be favored by 1 or 2. But I think Houston or Jacksonville would be favored. That's fine. That's kind of how it lays out. And I know that we're staring down the barrel of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, I truly feel like that's a team you're going to face. But you beat them with with Trevor Lawrence in that game. And I don't think his shoulder's going to miraculously heal in 2 weeks and get back to a level where he's good. I feel confident against any of these teams. I feel really confident against any 3 of the teams that you're going to face for Wild Card Weekend coming up. That's a good feeling, man. I feel real good. Like, it's great. And it's weird because it is 2 weeks away. And this week is going to be a little interesting. Like Coach said, he needs to keep the guys motivated. He's got to keep them we got to finish strong and all that kind of stuff. It's a JV game. This is the JV game. Throw out whoever. And it's so much fun that it's on the other side of it. Because just a couple of years ago, it was us in Cincinnati in the final week of the season, and they were playing all their backups, and they beat us. Now, we had to play a lot of our backups because Baker was starting all that other crap. The flip, though. The flip that we are... Dude, let this sink in for a second. That the Browns are finally a team that is playing the last regular season game of the year. And they get to play their backups because we've clinched. How many years has it been the opposite? How many years has it been that we were in a lame duck game at the end of the regular season, but it was lame duck because of the other team and what they were doing? And I know we've had games where, the Steelers needed to win to get in or win for the number 1 seed or Baltimore this or that, and they came in, they just shellacked us. We get to go down to Cincinnati for a game that means jack squat nothing. Jack squat nothing. I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite things about this year. You get to finally play a game that you have clinched your playoff spot, and there's no questions about it. Debate to be seen who's going to play and all that. We'll kind of lay it out. I want to get to the NFL playoff scenarios because I think this is super interesting just to see. Okay, I'm not going to lie. This is also me sitting in my high-perched throne looking down on the peasants going, oh, you still have to play for your way in. Oh, you have not clinched your seat yet. Oh, I'll sit up here on my throne, sitting here and drinking my delicious coffee while you peasants have to play things out. Hang on. Tastes so good. First one of the new year, man. I get to sit up here now as, you have not clinched. What that must be like. It took a year, and I'm a bougie.
Yeah.
I'm on the level of Alabama fans that are crying this morning. Just bougie. Everything is handed to me. We'll get a lot of college coming up here in a little bit. Here are your playoff scenarios. Okay, this is not going to work. I got to pull it on my phone. It's one of those things. It's a long document that they send out, and it's really hard to read. Okay, everybody ready? Here's your clinch scenarios for the AFC. Baltimore in, Kansas City in, Browns, Dolphins in. Divisions South and the East are still up for debate here. The West, Kansas City's got it somehow. The North got it. Here is Buffalo to get it. To clinch a... Oh, my gosh. They win. Oh, they're playing Miami. That's why.
Yeah.
They win. They get the division.
That's the
they
winner.
get the... So here's how they could make it. They can get in with a tie, a Pittsburgh loss, or a Jacksonville loss. So they're sitting pretty. They win and they get in. But even if they lose, Pittsburgh loss or tie, Jacksonville loss or tie, and an Houston-Indy tie. Any of those one scenario, and they're in. So it's not like it's a for sure. You kind of gave a look there. You're like, man, maybe I'm putting too much sauce on that. Maybe it's not out of the realm that Pittsburgh and Jacksonville both win.
No, Jacksonville should win.
They're going to win.
Yeah, and then you look at it, okay, Pittsburgh, they're playing the Ravens, but the Ravens have nothing to play for, so why are they going to be playing anybody?
Right.
And they already beat them, so I don't know. It's possible.
So Buffalo, all right, that's fair enough. All right, on that. Then we get to the Houston Texans, the team we may face. But for them to win the AFC South, they need to win and Jacksonville lose or tie. Houston can clinch a playoff spot just with a win. If they don't, they need a tie, Jacksonville loss, and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. So Houston, like Buffalo, win and you're in. Here's the Indianapolis Colts, which I would not be feeling good if I'm a Colts fan this morning. To win the South, they need to win and Jacksonville lose or tie and Jacksonville lose. For the Colts, I guess maybe not. Colts are win and get in too. They clinch a playoff berth with winner in. Jacksonville clinches the South with a win. They can get in with a tie and a Pittsburgh loss or a Pittsburgh loss, Denver loss or tie. There's all that kind of stuff out. Miami wins the East with a winner in. And then here's the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that is probably going to get left out of this. All that they can do is clinch a playoff spot. They must first win, have a Buffalo loss, a Jacksonville loss, or a Houston-Indianapolis tie. I don't want to get in the tie crap. All that kind of stuff. So Pittsburgh has the longest road to go here to get in. They need several other things to happen. So as it lays out right now, Buffalo winning in, Houston winning in, Colts winner in, and Jacksonville winning in. And one of those teams will win the division, and the other two will slide behind us to get the wild card spot. So that's where we stand in the AFC. Do you want to run through the NFC real quick?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. San Francisco clinched the number one. Detroit's clinched the North. Cowboys, the Rams, the freaking LA Rams have clinched a playoff spot. And the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's how it goes for the rest of the NFC teams. The Falcons can win the South with a win and a Tampa Bay loss. So Falcons are playing New Orleans. Tampa's playing Carolina, right? Yeah, so that's probably not going to happen. Dallas Cowboys can still win the division because if they win, they get it because they're playing Washington or a tie and a Philly loss. Here's Green Bay to win a playoff spot. They win and they're in, or a tie and a bunch of other crap. The Vikings are the team. They need to win and they need Green Bay and Seattle to lose. So the Vikings are not going to the playoffs. That's not happening. The Saints need to win the South with a win and a Tampa loss or tie to Carolina. That's not happening. They can clinch a playoff spot. Same thing. They win and they need a bunch of other teams to lose. Philly to win the division. Then Seattle, they need to win and a Green Bay loss. So as we lay it out, whoever wins the South, which it seems like it's going to be Tampa. I don't think they're going to lose to Carolina. So they're going to win. I think Green Bay, I don't know, man, Chicago's can be a little dicey. I think Chicago's going to, Green Bay will win. So Minnesota, I think Minnesota, New Orleans, and Seattle are going to be out. So here's how I see it's going to play out in the NFC. San Francisco won. I think Philly will hold on and win the division. So they'll be 2. Detroit will be 3.
Wait, you think Philly will win?
Yeah, I think they're going to win the division.
But if Dallas wins, doesn't Dallas win it?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, take that back. Dallas will become the 2 seed then. Or, I'm sorry, the 3 seed, because they'll be behind Detroit. So here's how it goes. San Francisco, Dallas, Detroit, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be your division winners. Your wild cards, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Cowboys. There's your 3. Or Cowboys, Packers. I think that's how it's going to lay out. All right, that's pretty fair. I mean, the nice thing is, again, we get to sit back and do a whole bunch of nothing and relax and not have to worry about it as it all kind of plays out. I want to get back in. We'll talk more about the Myles Garrett Defensive Player of the Year. Coach Stefanski pretty much handed the Coach of the Year. But we'll get to our 2 for Tuesday. And let's do this. Let's post these, and then we'll come back and we'll do it because one of them has to do with the national championship. Call your shot. Washington, Michigan is your national championship a week from yesterday, Monday night. Call your shot. And then number 2, do you go in or do you go out or do you stay in for New Year's? That'll be our second one. 2 for Tuesdays, always 2 questions, 2 answers. Number 1, call your shot in the national championship, Washington, Michigan. And then for New Year's Eve, do you go out or do you stay in? What do you prefer to do? We'll vote on that when we come back. I want to get to Cavs. We'll talk a little Ohio State. We'll take a look at the national championship because I got a little bit of a take. That I think for the playoff committee, the best case scenario was Texas, Alabama. You got the exact opposite of that. So therefore, is this the worst case scenario when it comes to the national championship? We'll talk about that. We'll dive into the games. We had our bet on one of them on Tipico. I felt good about Washington. Damn it. Damn Michigan, man.
You should have rolled with Sonny, like I said.
No, I'm not doing that. Screw the Wolverines. We'll talk about all of it coming up, college football as well. Folks, our bets on Tipico is how you do it. I still had a good weekend. Still cashed out. And even in the positive, because how I bet it yesterday was, I put more on Washington money line because they were the dog. So I ended up getting it all back. Folks, Tipico is where it's at. We love our boost here on the show. Close on Padone's yesterday. He had a nice little Cavs one rolling. We'll get a Cavs one coming up this week as well. But sign up with Tipico, folks. You're waiting in a little bit. It's fun because we were sitting there. We had a get-together, family get-together for New Year's. And what were we all doing? We were sitting down, and me and my sister-in-law were comparing our bet slips. And I showed her a nice little parlay that I hit last week for the Browns. It's a lot of fun. It's $5-10. Got a problem? 1-800-GAMBLER. Folks, if you have a gambling problem, New Year's resolution is there. You need to take control of that. 1-800-GAMBLER. Please make the call if you need to and help yourself out this year in 2024. But you want to dive into sports betting. You've heard us tell you about Tipico. You've thought about signing up. Now's a great time to do it. You download, use that code, BIGPLAY100, $25. You bet it, and you get $100 in bonus bets. You can bet on whatever you want. No, I'm not going to go to my early morning tennis bets that I usually do sometimes here on the show. But place your bet on whatever you want. Deposit and bet $25 with that $100 or with Big Play 100. Get $100 in bonus bets. It's that simple with our friends at Tipico. I love betting them. Ryan loves betting with them. We all love betting with them here on Big Play. The boosts are great. The interface is awesome. Check them out with our friends at Tipico. Let's catch a break. We'll get into the national championship. We'll vote on our 2 for Tuesday as well. Locked and loaded. First show of the year right here on Big Play. It's Fontana. Stay with us. All right, national championship is set. The Washington Huskies. Yes, the Michigan Wolverines get it done. Talking about right here. Welcome back. Fontana Show here on Big Play. We'll post our 2 for Tuesday. Call your shot for the Monday National Championship. This is worst case scenario for me. It really is. I was rooting hard, which it made me feel dirty anyway, but I was rooting hard for Alabama. Somehow Michigan gets it done. And I guess I'm fine with Washington. I just felt I would have felt better Texas. I feel like Texas has a better look at beating Michigan in that game. I didn't even look this morning on Tipico, right? What do you think the spread is? Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I got to imagine it's probably like Michigan.
All right, I was going to guess. I have not looked yet
I haven't either. I'm going to say Michigan -4.5.
I was just going to say 4.5. So you want to bet? You want to think it's 4.5?
Yeah.
All right, let me pull up our Tipico Sportsbook. Use that code BigPlay100 when you get signed up. NCAA football. They should just hire us at Tipico. 4.5 is the spread for Michigan, Washington. Give me the Huskies all the live long day. Here we go. But let's start with the first game. Alabama, like everybody's talking about the physicality for Michigan and they were able to run the football. Like Alabama looked like a crappy football team. That was the hardest thing watching that game because the debate that was had going into it was they're not the same team that Nick Saban has had where they can just run over other teams because they have all this talent. They looked like a bad football team, and Michigan took it to them. I'll give you credit there, as much as it pains me to say. I'll give you your credit for the Michigan Wolverines. They ran it down their throats, and they took it after it, especially there in overtime, to get it done. Is it bad for the NCAA that Michigan is now in the national championship? With all that scrutiny, with all the stuff, and I felt like we're kind of past it. I felt like we've kind of moved beyond it. But there are people that felt like justice was not served, and everybody's waiting for this offseason to see, and yet another week of debate on if Jim Harbaugh is going to sign that extension or not. All that kind of stuff going with Michigan. I really think that was a bad case. I really think this is a worst case scenario for the NCAA. I do. Because if you had Texas make it, the game is in Houston. Darren Ravel said this morning, if Texas would have made it, $3,000 average to get in. If it was going to be Washington, it would have been cut in half. Lo and behold, it did. Average get-in price down there is $1,500 just because of Texas. Now, the other side of it, I think Texas-Alabama would have been the biggest just because I know Michigan is massive, but it's still Alabama. And it's still, you're in the South, you're going to play down there. You would have had more tickets, I think, had. And I'm not saying that Michigan's not going to sell out or that they won't have a strong fan base down there. They're going to. But even just from a national perception, I guess the positive is that everybody's going to root against Michigan now. Is that not? On the average casual fan, wouldn't you think that they would root against Michigan for everything that's gone on there this year?
Yeah, I mean, especially given that it's Washington, an undefeated team who kind of, they had big preseason projections, but certainly I believe Oregon was the favorite to win the Pac-12, and the fact that, right, it's Michigan who has the scandal over their heads, so you're going to root for the underdog usually, and now that's even more so magnified.
Call your shot. First 2 for Tuesdays up. Washington, Michigan. You know where I'm going. I will never do it, so go Huskies.
I'm rolling with Michigan.
All right, go Huskies.
They're the better team. Yeah, they'll win.
Are they, though?
Yeah.
I continue to crap on Michigan just because that's what I do. I hate them. But I did watch that game and I go, okay, I think they showed me a little bit more. They showed me a little bit more in that game than I really thought. J.J. McCarthy showed up. Blake Corum is very good. I'll roll with the Huskies, and I certainly hope that that's how it plays out. Ohio State, what do you care? What does anybody care? Like, people wanted to watch it. It was a poop game. It was an absolutely horrible football game. You had the majority of your guys sitting out. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Florida State. It wasn't as bad as some of these other schools. What did you think they were going to do? Why was Travion Henderson in that game? Why? And people got angry with me because before the season last year, I said if Marvin Harrison walked in, sat down and said, Matt, can I get your ear for 5 minutes? I said, absolutely, man. What's on your mind? And he said, what do you think I should do this year for the Ohio State Buckeyes? I would look at him dead in the face and say, you sit out. Don't play. And people freaked out. And they go, oh, you're not a competitive, you soft millennial. What the hell's the matter with you? You're going to sit out and be... Marvin Harrison has a long NFL career ahead of him and a lot of money to be made. Granted, I'm very happy he made it through this year. He didn't get hurt, okay? Did the ultimate goal happen? No. I know Garrett Wilson was on Twitter talking about sitting out the bowl game, and he said he really wished he wouldn't have and all that. Grant, I appreciate that. I appreciate the side that they want to be out there with their teammates and their roommates and their friends. And for the legacy that is Ohio State, that game meant jack, squat, diddly poo, nothing. To steal a line. Oh, who was that? The Colts coach. Diddly poo. We didn't do diddly poo out there.
Oh, is that the old dude?
Yeah.
I can picture him. I don't know his name.
Jim Mora. Thank you. Jim Mora. That's right. Jim Mora. We didn't do it. It didn't matter. It did not matter. So for people to, again, wake up and go, oh, they were going to fire Ryan Day right now. Everybody out there, I've got a little news for you. Are you ready? They're not firing Ryan Day. They're not doing it. If they were going to do it, they would have done it before the recruiting started. And I know that the second date is coming up and that guys can flip and welcome to the transfer portal and Cam Ward's going pro. And they were saying on the broadcast that they're not going to go into the portal. They're going to roll it out Lincoln Kienholz and Aaron Nolan. Here's the thing. They're not firing Ryan Day. Not this year. That's not, Ryan, I say this, save the clip. You can send it to Old Takes Exposed if you need to. They're not firing Ryan Day. They're just not going to do it. If they would have done it, they would have done it before. And the other thing, they're hiring a new athletic director. As much as Ohio State is a sought-after position, right? If you are in the athletic administration world and you want to be an athletic director, Ohio State is one of the schools that you strive to get to. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of power. It's prestigious. It's all of those things. But it's still a competition. There are still going to be multiple candidates, and there are still going to be people that Ohio State needs to pitch themselves to. Well, how nice would it be to say to that new athletic director, whoever it is, hey, you're going to sit down. You might get to hire a coach in a couple of years. You might get to hire a coach after next season. The anti-Ryan Day crew, they're different than the anti-Stefanski crew. Because the anti-Stefanski crew, you've got nothing. You have nothing left to argue and complain about. Ryan Day, I'll have that conversation. I understand where you're coming from. Friday's game against Missouri does nothing for me. That does nothing for me to sway how I feel about Ryan Day or not. Truthfully, I think he's a good coach. I'd keep him around for one more year. Now, the problem is, are you entering what you expect to be a lame duck season for Ohio State? I don't think anybody's going to pick them to go win the Big Ten next year. You lost all, and recruiting classes be damned. And I know I have some guy in the recruiting trail telling me I don't know crap about some guy from North Dakota that's going to come in and play off. I don't know any of that, right? I know Ohio State and some of the places that grade this out finished with the second best recruiting class. Fine. How many of those guys are actually going to play next year? Are they actually going to step in as 19-year-old freshmen and go, all right, let's go play this out here? I doubt it. You have some of your guys coming back. The vast majority are not. What does it all come back to? Quarterback. And you don't feel good about Lincoln Kienholz, and you probably don't feel good about Devin Brown, and you don't know anything about this Aaron Nolan kid who's a freshman. So, in a way, you're going to get what you want, anti-Ryan Day crew. I expect next year to be a bad season for Ohio State. Bad season relative of, they'll have 3 or 4 losses. Mark my words.
Okay.
3 or 4. Now, the crazy thing is,
will you guys be able to cope with that?
we live in a world where 3 losses might get you in a playoff sooner rather than later. I said this, I was on ESPN this weekend. And I was doing the show, and shout out to Evan Mack. He and I were co-hosting. We're talking college football. And I said, Evan, it will be sooner rather than later. And I feel pretty good putting a rubber stamp on this, that within the next 3 years, you will have a 3-loss team in the college football playoff. It's going to happen. Now, it depends on who those 3 losses are too and all this other kind of stuff. We know the team's coming in from the Pac-12, which, by the way, did you see no matter what, Michigan will have, if it was either Texas or Washington, that they were going to have a rematch next year because they played Texas out of conference, and now Washington's coming to the Big Ten. So you'll have that rematch next year. Big Ten's sitting there going, man, look at us. Is that a gut punch to the Pac-12 if their team wins a national championship in the last year of the conference?
Oh, yeah.
What a gut punch that is for them. But anyway, for Ohio State next year, you're I'm not going to be saying this next year because I think there's a real world that Ryan Day's last year in Columbus is next year. Oh, why not just make the move now? Because they're not going to. They're not going to. Save that for about an hour from now when it comes out that they fired Ryan Day. It wouldn't shock. I mean, at the end of the day, I guess it wouldn't shock. I don't see it. I truthfully do not see it that Ohio State's going to move on from Ryan Day right now. That game on Friday meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. And you hear people on the TV and the analysts trying to say, well, it gives you a lot of great momentum going into the offseason. Nothing was going to turn the tide of how you feel about Ohio State. You're going to look at that team and say, well, Marvin Harrison's gone. Trevion Henderson's going to be gone. You're losing Cade Stover. I was surprised Denzel Burke played in that game too. I think he's going to be – I know he has reportedly said he hasn't made his decision yet. I think he's out of there. So you look at it of all the guys that you lost – you don't necessarily have the replacements at hand to bring them in. Your conference is going to get an nth team more more difficult and harder next year. It's going to be a down year for Ohio State. I don't think I'm jumping out of any tree limb by saying it. It's going to be a down year, and then you can go fire Ryan Day. And the debate will be on who replaced him. But, Ryan, that game on Friday meant nothing. It really did. You're wearing your Ohio State gear today? Is that like a funeral type thing, or are you just like kind of giving some goodwill today? I don't know.
No, this is my trash hoodie when I don't feel like wearing anything nice.
Is that a shot? Was that a shot at Ohio State? Yeah. There you go. That was a shot there at Ohio State. That game meant nothing to me. It really didn't. To the Cavs, tough one last night for the Wine and Gold. I've been impressed with how they've been able to keep this together with the guys kind of being out. And I said, each and every game that I look at with this team, see what you got. They've lost 2 straight now. Okay, they weren't winning that Bucks game. The Raptors were all hot and heavy there, getting Quickly and Barrett. Which, by the way, so Padona had a parlay yesterday.
Yeah, Barrett went over.
Oh, he did over, and then the Cavs lost anyway.
Yeah, so
okay, that's fine. Because he had a 3-leg parlay. Mitchell 25 or more. He had 26. But it was under 15.5 for Barrett. He finished with 19 in the Cavs money line. So Cavs are in a fine spot right now. I'm not too worried about where they're at. You just keep playing it out. Try to get some of these guys back. They're back to 3 games above 500. We'll see. When are they in action again? Tomorrow night against the Wizards. They better win tomorrow night. It's home against the Wizards. Wizards suck. So that's fine with where the Cavs are at. Nothing really to take away from them over the weekend. The big trade in the NBA. The biggest news there, Don Mitchell ain't going to the Knicks anymore. He's not going to the Knicks anymore. And listen, I was a realist when it came to that whole scenario, okay? That I think if you sat down and you gave Donovan Mitchell truth serum, which is what I also call whiskey, you sit down and you give him some of that Pappy, or you tell him some Weller Foolproof, and you tell him to lay it out the truth, I think he would say he would enjoy going to play for the Knicks. There's nothing wrong in saying that. Watching what the Knicks traded away and then all but confirmed, right? It was like yesterday or the day before it all came out, and the Knicks are basically like, yeah, we can't go after him anymore. There's no more trade assets left for the Knicks. So they put all their eggs in the basket of R.J. Barrett. And I think that's, or not R.J. Barrett, OG Anunoby, who they traded for. He's a nice 3-and-D guy. They're going to have to sign him in free agency coming up. Can we have a weird conversation for a second? Can I get a little negative for just a second? Is that not the Knicks saying that Donovan Mitchell is not that good? Think about it. Think about the statement that I just said. If you had any remote possibility of trading for a superstar in the NBA, don't you keep that door open? Now, I'm not blind to he's not LeBron, he's not Giannis, he's not Luka, he's not to that level. But I was a belief that he was of that second tier kind of guy. Closer to tier 1 than tier 3. But it kind of hit me when I said the Knicks made the decision that Donovan Mitchell's not really all worth that. It got me conflicted. Now, if he stays here and this is the final outcome, great. Fantastic. And I like Donovan Mitchell, and there is no part of me at all that regrets the trade that the Cavs made. That was a good trade. It worked out for the Jazz. I think it's working out better for the Cavs. It all works out. But I was just like, and maybe it was because I was so brainwashed on he was going to go there and the Knicks were going to do everything that they could. But in essence, the Knicks said, we don't really need Donovan Mitchell. We're all right. We're good. And that kind of shocked me for a little bit. Just be like, Now, again, the fallout is he stays in Cleveland for now. That's fine. And I'm not saying that there's not some other team that'll show up. And the Cavs, I mean, frankly, too, they have salary cap problems. Like, for them to sign Donovan Mitchell to a contract extension, they got to work some numbers there. Knowing that Evan Mobley's got to get one, that Darius Garland's already got one, and Jared Allen's all paid up. I know there's a world that Jared Allen will be moved on, and that's $25 million off the books, and you can kind of finagle the money, and that's all Kobe Altman's job to do. But with that trade, the Knicks signaled, yeah, we don't think Donovan Mitchell's that good. Am I wrong? Am I just on that statement alone, right? And that's fine if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm reading this the wrong way. But did the Knicks not signal, yeah, we don't really need Donovan Mitchell?
I guess I never really thought about it from that angle. I guess, I mean, it's logically got to be something, right? Either that or the fact that they just didn't buy their chance of getting Donovan like it's been blown up in the media.
I'll give you another logical one. I think you're right. Number one, you could say that's a fight we don't even want to enter, right? That's going to be a long, drawn-out thing that we don't want to have. The other part of it could be we're going right now, right? Donovan Mitchell's not getting there for at least till the offseason, right? And they feel like we need to make a move right now. But also, that move was kind of a signal that Jalen Brunson is going to be our guy. And we're going to build around him. I mean, this isn't a shot at OG Anunoby, but, like, who wasn't even the best guy in the Raptors? Not Pascal Siakam, who's also going to be out of there, too. But, like, think just on this statement, which is a statement of fact. The New York Knicks gave up Donovan Mitchell. Okay, I'm putting too much on that. The Knicks gave up a chance to get Donovan Mitchell for OG Anunoby. I just did not think that was going to happen. And I guess if, the Knicks, like right now, I guess I'm leaning towards they just needed something for the right now, right? They wanted to make this move for the now. They feel like they can make some hay, and let's get him in here now, and we're going. But it just kind of got me a little weird on it. Because everything that happens is one of the things that we'll do always here on the show. When stuff happens, I tie it back to Cleveland. Anything that happens on the big national stage, on any other trade that happens, there is always usually a trickle-down effect to the Browns, Guardians, or the Cavs. The trickle-down here is a giant one. That who seemed to be the number one suitor for Donovan Mitchell's services beyond Cleveland has now said, we're good. You can celebrate and thank the high heavens. Good, he's out. He's not going there. He's going to stay here. Me, I'd take it to the next level and go, okay, but why? Okay, but why? And maybe the answer is simple as they're making a push now, and OG Anunoby is exactly what they needed. But it stinks too much for me. It's a little too smelly for me. I don't know. And I'm living in this vacuum of a world that they were, no questions asked, going to get him and have a trade package that worked for the Cavs. Because the other thing, it probably sent the Cavs, I don't want to say into a tailspin, but it probably changed a little bit for the Cavs, right? Where their future was a lot unwritten. You don't ever want your future to be written by somebody else. You want to have control in your own right. You want to be able to make the moves and have the picks and all that. The Cavs don't have it. But I would imagine that Kobe Altman was preparing for a world that, they'd move. Now that's gone. At least in this sense that it's not the Knicks. There could be another team that shows up. There could be somebody else with a great trade package. But now, more than ever, you sit here thinking, okay, Donovan Mitchell is going to stick with the Cavs for a while. That's fine. I'm not coming off saying this is a bad thing. This is a great thing. He's a really good player. It's going to continue that futures of like, oh, is it better off with Evan Mobley being our star player, or Donovan Mitchell, or his ball control, or what the offense looks like? He's a good player. I want him on my basketball team. That's simple as that. But I just go, why do the Knicks not want him?
You need that Windhorst meme.
Why would they do that? That is exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Why would they do that?
I haven't seen that on Twitter yet, surprisingly.
I think you got to save it for the right stuff.
Yeah.
That is one of the walk-off shots of all walk-off shots. Why would they do that? And then, what is it, the day later they make that other big trade? And why would they do that? Wendy's the best. I love Ryan. But that was kind of the big takeaway that I had from that. Okay, great. Donovan Mitchell's going to be here. I do think it maybe changes some things on the Cavs on how they're going to approach things moving forward. And now, Remember when we were saying, I don't even know, like a week ago, that we needed to prove to Donovan Mitchell that this was a place for him to go win? What if that dynamic has shifted so much that Donovan Mitchell has no other choice? Like, I'm not, and this comes off like I'm ripping Donovan Mitchell and that I'm tearing him down, and I'm not meaning to do that. But we know that he is a really good player. Is he elite? I don't know, right? Where some of these elite guys can hold up teams and demand trades and do all that. I would like to believe that the NBA is finally out of that era where they had a really bad era. Maybe it was because of LeBron. I don't know. But they had this horrible era of guys flip-flopping teams. I'll blame James Harden. You want to know what? I'll blame James Harden, not LeBron. I'll blame Harden because I don't like him anyway. I'll blame him. I'm a hired mercenary. I'm just going to go from team to team to team. And if you don't cut my boys and do all this other stuff, then I'm out of here and I'm gone. And you better get this player here. And I don't mesh with this other star player. And I'll get that. That was a bad era for the NBA. That was horrible. Nobody likes that. I'd like to hope and believe that maybe we're past that. And you're seeing a lot of star players that are paid up and seem to be in the right position. Now, if Milwaukee continues to struggle, Giannis is going to want to get out of there. If Dallas doesn't keep Luka, players around him, he's going to leave. I'm not saying you don't have star players leave teams. You have that all the time in any sport. But the NBA really had that bad part where guys were holding teams up. And I think for Donovan, it's to spin it from a positive thing. At this point now, I think Donovan needs the Cavs as much as the Cavs need Donovan. I don't think that was always equal. And all right, here's the tweet. Matt, you're assuming the Knicks were the only team that would ever want Donovan Mitchell. Yes. Am I sitting here like borderline celebrating, saying the only team that Donovan Mitchell could have gone to was the Knicks? No. There's a world that somebody else shows up. We really want him. Here's our picks. Here's this and that. That could still happen. I guess today, I just don't see it. And I'm going to operate that way. Do you think Donovan regrets not signing that deal this offseason or, before the deadline that he had? He'll still get paid. He's still going to get paid. There's nothing to worry about with that. But I don't know if people understand the gravity of what happened for the Cavs this weekend. With the Knicks signaling we're good on Donovan Mitchell, that changes a lot. That changes so much for this franchise. In the positive, I think. This is a good problem to have. This is a great problem. You got to move some money around to keep Donovan Mitchell with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Good. Fantastic. And I'm fine going into the future of this team with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Donovan Mitchell. I'd like Jared Allen to be a part of that, and maybe they can restructure that kind of deal. I'd love Karis LeVert to be a part of that moving forward. They still have some problems. They still need this and that. Max Strus will be here. Benny Van George Niang's going to be here. They have some pieces. They have some parts. They also have some issues. Welcome to the NBA. But the fact that, for now, Donovan Mitchell ain't going anywhere. And we can calm all that down. I don't think there was a big outcry for it, Ryan, but it was still there. It was still there. And that's what happened this weekend. All right, speaking of this weekend, you got New Year's Eve. Sunday night, going into Monday, everybody's off. Our second two for Tuesday. Do you prefer to go out or stay in for New Year's? Now, Ryan, you and I are of an age gap here. I don't need reminded what it is, but there's an age gap there. And I always lived, so like my wife and I, even when we were dating, we would always go to the... Can I tell you the worst New Year's Eve experience that we had?
Yeah.
This was our second year of dating. So you're still kind of in that, like, not impressing, but like, I want to, make a good impression on her and, all this other kind of stuff. So there was a New Year's Eve that we were sitting in I rented a house. Actually, I got a rental house down the street of where she lived. Not stalkerish, but I just wanted to be near her. So it was New Year's Eve and she goes, well, what are we going to do? And I had nothing planned, right? And a lot of bars and restaurants, you need to get tickets, right? And I didn't do any of that because I had planned to take her downtown to go. They had some event where like Drew Carey and MGK were there they called it something. Oh my God, what was it called? Not like Winterfest, but it was something like that.
Sure.
And all you had to do was get down there. But this was a year that it was snowy. It was cold as hell. It was so cold, snowy and all this other kind of stuff. And she got dressed like we were just like going out to like a restaurant or something. So I'll never forget this.
What were you wearing?
I was ready to go downtown. I had like thermal on. I was like, all right, so we end up ditching all of those plans. We went to a Mexican restaurant around the corner, tried to go to 2 different bars. They said you can't come in with a ticket, and we ended up sitting in my bed to watch the ball drop by ourselves. And I was like, she hates me. This is the worst ever. We had all these grand plans. We were going to take the RTA downtown, found out the RTA wasn't running that night. Just all hell broke loose. So beyond that, I learned from that. So then there was a couple of years that we would get the tickets and you were guaranteed a spot at the bar. You were guaranteed a champagne toast. Those worked. But for the vast majority of us being together, we hosted a party at our house. And it was great because all my brothers would come, all our friends would come. You had to go upstairs to go to bed. The bathroom wasn't messy in a line. It was great. So for that, I would tell you, I think it's probably been 8 years. 8 years since I've actually gone out on New Year's Eve. Now, I'm an old dad now. I have 2 kids. My wife was asleep by 10 o'clock. I held the baby, and that was it. So I say all that said, I'm swayed on my voting, where I remember a life of going out and doing all that kind of stuff, but I'm very clearly going to vote staying in. And even to a point that if I could have the party again at my house, I would much rather do that. Because it really got me started. We were sitting there and we, for the kids, we got them apple cider, sparkling apple cider. And we sat there and we did a fake countdown at like 5 o'clock. My brother came over. It was fun. So we got last year's countdown and played it for our son at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yeah. His bedtime 7. So we did it at 5 o'clock and he had a little toast and we sat there and it was a great time.
That's awesome.
But watching it at Times Square, because the question is, do you ever want to go to Times Square for New Year's?
Hell no.
We got it. Like, are those people paid? Or is that just something that people think it's so cool to do when in reality it sounds like it sucks? So here's what I did. I Googled this. The experience of going to New York Times Square for the ball drop. They say, number 1, there's no vendors. People think like you can go buy alcohol and stuff. Not really. Number 2, you are usually standing there for 6 hours.
Yeah, they wear diapers.
The other thing is there's no porta potties.
They wear
Exactly.
diapers, yeah.
There's no place to go to the bathroom.
That's foul.
Because all of these stores that are in Times Square, they probably hate that. And what is always the sign? Bathrooms for customers only. So what do people go in? They go in and buy a pack of gum and they go, oh, yeah, I'm a customer. Let me go to the bath. That's the final thing I was going to bring up, that there are no porta potties out there. That sounds horrible. Absolutely horrible. Now, there's a lot of great businesses in Cleveland and a lot of great restaurants. And you know what? $60 for some prime rib and, your champagne toast or whatever. That's great. But the going out on New Year's Eve and, be safe. Hopefully everybody was safe and, the fine men and women in blue keeping us safe out there and all that, the driving, the Ubers, all that kind of stuff. I can't do it, man. I stayed in. So my vote is very clearly staying in. Ryan, you're of a younger group here a little bit. Cast your vote. Would you rather go in or stay out for New Year's?
I voted go out. However, I'll say this.
What would you rather do?
I'm definitely I'm at the point where I'm on the teeter of it. I think next year my vote might sway to staying in. I mean,
have somebody do a house party. Have somebody host a party. You want to do something.
It's fun, but it's kind of just another unnecessary excuse to get messed up, which is it's fun. Everybody loves that once in a while.
I can't tell you how great it is to walk up a set of stairs and there's your bed.
Yeah.
To turn a corner and there's a bathroom that is available. There's nothing quite like that. There's something to be said about that. Getting out, going outside and trying to come back in real quick, or trying to get out in the bar. Where's your wristband? Wait, where's your chair? No. And trust me, I miss going out. I miss that. We'll get back to that one day in our family because we just got young kids. But staying in is where it's at. Dude, we are 92.8 people say staying in. 92.8. Yeah. Is New Year's Eve overrated? Has it become the most overrated holiday? I think there's a case to be said, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely overrated.
I think it's overrated as hell. I really do. And the weird thing that also kind of clicked for me doing 5 o'clock on Sunday for our kids, It was already the New Year in Australia. We watched Sydney's celebration. And then I have friends that live in LA and they're 3 hours behind. Like, it's arbitrary when you think of time and the Gregorian calendar, which we all live by. It's an arbitrary thing. So it's something, I guess all holidays are arbitrary to a point. You just pick this day or you have this thing to celebrate. I think New Year's Eve is the most overrated holiday. Like, not even a question. There's not much redeemable about it. Then, listen. You want... Okay, this is not directed at any one person at all. Because you know the other thing you got to get inundated with? The social media post. It's a new year. It's a new me. Yeah, here's my New Year's resolution. Or some sappy post about last year. And trust me, if you had a great year, I'm happy you did. You had a bad year or a tough year, you're happy to see it. Nothing really kind of changed. You know, it was yesterday was Monday. Day before that was Sunday.
I didn't see anything, but did Dan
Orlovsky? You know Dan Orlovsky did. I have said this 1,000 times. Dan Orlovsky has turned into this rise and grind guy, and I appreciate his analyst work. I think he does a great job, but he posts all these sappy rise and grind, gotta work. I'm sure he did. Let me see. January 1st, Ryan.
I'm looking for it.
At 7:43 in the morning. No matter what's going on or what your past experience has been, this new year is packed with potential. Guaranteed. Guaranteed from him. What is different from today from last? Nothing. It's a new year. Great. Did things actually change? Are you actually going to start going to the gym? I hope you are. That's fine. There's something to be said. If you're a loyal gym goer, which I used to be, I'll get back there one day again too. Be understanding of people, please. Be understanding that there's a lot of people that are in the gym maybe for the first time or they don't know what they're doing. Leave them be, or if they need help them out. You know, lend a hand here. There are new people in there trying to figure some stuff out. Leave them be. Let them alone. You know, people, I get that all the time. People like the real gym goers, which I appreciate people that go to the gym. But they get upset in January because then, it's packed and they can't get to their equipment. All that. Let it be. Let it be. There's some people who are trying to improve their lives. Let them go. Leave them go. All right? If they need some help them out. But yeah, New Year's, and then just I don't know. And hopefully, again, if you're somebody like me who you kind of are happy that you closed the door in 2023, move on forward. Great. Fantastic. Awesome. Overrated is where it's at. All right, let's catch a break. We come back. We're going to go around the league. We're going to talk about this Detroit debacle. Kind of mentioned earlier, I have a take on Dan Campbell that I think people are missing on this whole thing. We'll get to that. We'll get geared up for this weekend for big games. We'll go around the league. We'll do it next. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Let me tell you about the week here at Big Play. Tuesday night. Josh and Maria tonight? All right, so they're back. Ryan knows the schedule. I never know the schedule. So, no, Reflog has been off. Blake and Greg have been off. Hanford's been off. But this week, we're going to get back into it, folks. Big Play is everywhere that you need it. Blake and Greg Williams. Big Play Cleveland show. Hanford Dixon show. Booby's World. What was the debate that I just saw that Booby and Rafa were having? They posted a clip about it with Padone. I can't remember. It was hilarious. I don't know. Booby's World talking basketball.
I can find out.
Yeah. Bonus time with Bruce Drenner. You got Ted Ginn Jr. show. Big Play, Big Bets with Dave and Nick. We got it all for it. And then every day, Chico and myself. We're on 9 to 11. Chico's 12 to 2. Just follow Big Play. Follow it on Twitter. Follow the YouTube channel, Everything, everywhere you need it, it's all up there. Big Play is the place to be. We got some new merch coming out, too. I saw those hoodies. Or not hoodies, like they're sweatshirts. They don't have a hood on them, but some pretty nice stuff. Check it out, bigplay.com for all the merch as well. And all our show schedules are up there. Streaming on the iHeart app. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and coming soon. Hey! 2024, the year of Instagram, maybe, for us on the show. We'll get there. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about it. So we might be streaming on Instagram live soon, but we'll get that all figured out here in the new year. All right, let's catch a break. Go around the league. We'll do it next. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Stay with us. Feels like a week ago we played NFL games. Dude, I love the Saturday games. I know why they can't do it all season long, and maybe that's what makes it special, is when they only do the Saturday games late in the year. But God, did we have a lot of good football. Got to just sit back, enjoy. Didn't have to worry about it. It was glorious. All that being said, we got to go around the league. We'll take you on back all the way to Saturday. Oh boy, all the way away. All the way back to Saturday. It's time to go around the league. Ryan's got the games. I guess I got the takes. You win, right?
Well, Matt,
hot take.
Browns are fine nonetheless. You know, we'll go on the road against AFC South. No
That's
worries
fine.
here. But the Ravens absolutely shellacked the Dolphins. Lamar Jackson ran away with the MVP this year.
Yes.
And now the Ravens clinched that #1 seed, and they'll get a bye.
I mean, the thing is, did that game tell you more about the Ravens or did it tell you more about the Dolphins? Because the Ravens come in on a stretch of beating the Jags, 49ers, and Dolphins, beating all of them by multiple scores, and a game that, the starters were getting pulled, and I did not see that coming. So, which also, by the way, isn't it crazy that the last loss that Baltimore had was against us? Yeah. Seemed like a lifetime ago. It's not so much for that game that I look at Baltimore and I'm like, wow, they're really good. I knew that. It's the Dolphins that all of a sudden I go, maybe you're not who you thought you were. Now, they also lost Bradley Chubb in that game. He tore his ACL. He's out for the year. So their two best pass rushers in Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are out. And I know Jalen Waddle didn't play in that game. I know Raheem Mostert didn't play in the game, but has Tyreek Hill been figured out finally? He's battling the ankle injury, so I don't think he quite looks the same.
Drop that touchdown.
Yeah, I'd be a little more concerned about Miami. So my biggest takeaway from that game is not that Baltimore is some incredible juggernaut, because, I guess they really are. It pains me to say that, but it's true. But it's more that Miami looked like crap. They really didn't. That game was at Miami. They did, what are we doing, right? Or was that Edmonton?
It was
at
in
Edmonton. It was in Baltimore. Okay, sorry. It was in Baltimore. But, yeah, man, I have more questions about Miami coming out of the game than I do. Here's the thing. I have more questions about Miami than I have truths about Baltimore. I didn't really think I learned a lot about Baltimore in that. Lamar, 5 touchdowns. He wins the MVP. Yes. I think he took it away from Christian McCaffrey, certainly. And if I'm the Dolphins, I got some questions. I do.
Well, Bills keep their playoff hopes alive. They beat the Patriots 27-21.
Yeah.
Matt, Josh Allen, not a good game, but they still got the W, and now basically a win, and they're in situation. And Matt, they can even win the AFC East still.
Yeah, they can. They've just kind of been hanging around in this thing. Dude, Bailey's. Some of those interceptions, I know Bill doesn't really care at this point, he's on the way out, but how is that guy, you hear coaches say all the time, we're going to start the guy that gives us the best chance to win. How is Bailey Zappi the answer to that question? In your statement of starting the best guy for a chance to win, how is Bailey Zappi your answer, man? Dude, that's bad. Those interceptions are day one undrafted. I know he's an undrafted free, but still, bad. 3 picks. You wonder about what that game would have been had he not, because the Bills, they looked bored. They were just like, all right, we got to do what we got to do. But it's kind of the same thing. You have Josh Allen scoring touchdowns, and that's it. Can't throw the football, not throwing the football, not even running it all that effectively. I guess they're just gearing up for this weekend. I don't know. It'll tell a lot when they face Miami. That's going to have that's big implications there this upcoming weekend. Patriots playing out the string. What do they care? Probably tanking for a draft pick at this point. Belichick's not going to be there. They move on from it. They looked bad. I don't think Buffalo looked good. I would not be sitting here singing the praises of the Buffalo Bills. You did what you needed to do, and you move on.
Well, the Chicago Bears throttled the pretty hapless Falcons. Somehow the Falcons still aren't eliminated, but they would need a lot to happen if they want to get in the playoffs. But the Bears, Justin Fields is making it hard for them to figure out if they want to take Caleb Williams or ride it out with Justin Fields. I truly think the decision is made. You roll with Justin Fields. That trade for DJ Moore seems to always be working out. You're fine, man. I think the Bears are fine. Now, it also came out this weekend that they're going to keep Eberflus. You're going to keep him and then know that he's on a short leash start the year.
I think you keep Justin Fields. Falcons, sneakily, Artie Smith not going to be out of a job? Is that not his second year down there?
Yeah, he's cooked.
I think he's done. I don't understand what they do. I don't understand how they do it. They went to Desmond Ridder again. They're really bad. They're not good. They had that one long run from Tyler Algier that not run, but screen pass. He took it 75 yards or whatever. They got nothing going down there at Atlanta. I think Artie Smith's going to be out of a job. And he's going to be fired. And that's yet another opening for a couple other places to go. Could Belichick go to the Falcons? Wouldn't that be a little weird?
Ew.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I think Belichick's out of a job. I don't see any team that's going to sign up and say, yeah, I'll take him on my team. Atlanta sucks. Chicago finishing out strong. Here's the best part. They already clinched the number 1 overall pick. Carolina clinched that. We'll get to that game coming up. It goes to them. That trade is a fleece. It seems to be a fleece, and it's going to continue to be that way. So good job for Chicago.
Colts get the win at home. They beat the Raiders. Raiders do cover. Raiders are eliminated.
Yeah.
However, pretty solid ending to a bad start to the season there. It looks like Antonio Pierce is going to land that head coach job next year, but Shane Steichen and the Colts find a way to win, and they're looking in on the playoffs here, man.
Yeah, they are. And again, you talk about a team that probably doesn't deserve to be there, but is. It makes it sound so bad when I say that. Like, yes, they deserve to be there because they've won these games. Colts are doing it in a different way, man. And especially, what do you do with Anthony Richardson next year? Like, do you keep Gardner Minshew around?
Hell no.
So that's what I'm saying. You just turn it over to Anthony Richardson and say, all right, this is your gig now. Okay.
100%.
So then Minshew, I mean, there's teams that'll vie for Gardner Minshew services. Atlanta, you're telling me they wouldn't have? Can I get
Pittsburgh?
Oh, yeah, that's another good one, too. He kind of, I don't know why. Gardner Minshew seems to fit with the Pittsburgh Yinzers. It just seems like it fits. I don't know. I got to say something about the Raiders. You know what I'm going to say about the Raiders? Do not believe in Aiden O'Connell. I know that the NFL's got this facade of the dream, right? That if you get there and you play well and you can make it and you can do all this kind of stuff. And I know there's people that their job is to watch tape and they're a scout and they tell me I got my head up my butt when it comes to Aiden O'Connell. I will just tell you this. Mark Davis, I know you don't take a lot of good advice, especially from your barber, but here's a piece of good advice. Aiden O'Connell's not your guy. Antonio Pierce is your guy. He is a good head coach. You keep him around. Max Crosby is a good player. You could even try to keep around on Devontae Adams. You could try to keep Josh Jacobs if you want. I am telling you this as a statement of fact. Do not buy the fool's gold that Aiden O'Connell is. You need better than that. And again, I know some guy that breaks down film and tells me that I don't know what I'm talking about from an advanced analytics standpoint or watching the tape. I'll just ask you, is Aiden O'Connell a starting franchise quarterback in the NFL, right?
I would say no.
Then there we go. There's your answer to that. So, sorry to the O'Connell family. Great story. I think his career is as a backup. We move on from there.
No Trevor Lawrence, no problem for the Jaguars. But it really was a Travis Etienne show, but they blow out the worst team in the NFL. I don't think it's up for debate. 26-0, Matt.
God.
The news in this game really is that the Jaguars, one more win, and they're in. Likely to play our Cleveland Browns. But beyond that, owner David Tepper of the Panthers was seen throwing his drink at a fan, and I looked up his net worth. $20 billion. That fan might be into some cash real soon.
Okay, don't sue him for getting a drink poured on you.
You have
Come
to.
on now.
If you have the opportunity.
You know some lawyer probably called.
Yeah, you would do it. You were telling me you wouldn't do it?
All right, that is...
You're lying. You're lying.
But like...
You're lying.
It's chicken shit. You know what I mean? It just is.
I don't care.
It is.
Give me a quick $1 million, change my life. I get a little wet.
I guess, but that's my point. Is there really grounds? Are you gonna scream traumatic emotional stress? I can't go to a football game anymore.
Yeah,
I can't go to a football game anymore. Right? I'm worried somebody's gonna pour a cocktail on me.
Absolutely.
I can't do it anymore. Hey, I have a back injury. That water was really cold and it hit my back.
I'm selling it. I'm winning an Oscar.
You're not gonna get anything. Okay, David Tepper is kind of a POS. That's it. Again, talking about chicken. I keep censoring it here. I know I'm allowed to say it, but whatever. Family show. That's a chicken move. It is. But to that point, at least he cares. At least, like, he's offended by that. But you know that you have no ground. Dude, yeah, you're the owner of one of the biggest trash dumpster heap teams that this league, and we've seen some. Lord knows we have. Do you want to know why he's really that upset? It's because they
have
drafted
CJ Stroud.
Bryce Young. Yes, 1,000%. You can sit there and rationalize it if you felt good about your franchise quarterback moving forward. You know he doesn't. You know I don't feel good about it because it's not the right move, and you made the screw up of that move. Their only way to pull this out of the fire is to go to Jim Harbaugh and say, you have a number in your mind. We'll surpass that number. Here is a butt load of money. I'm trying to think of a big butt. Here's a Nicki Minaj, Cardi B level buttload of money. And I'm sure their butts are insured for something too. Here is an insane amount of money to come coach my dumpster fire of a team. And Harbaugh's going to take it, probably. We'll see how that plays out. That's their only saving grace. I mean, listen, people are going to scream. It's a bad look. I don't understand why the owners are in the box, like they're close, to the fans and all that kind of stuff. But sit back in the suite, man. Don't get, especially when you're on the road. Sit in the back of the suite. Don't get close to the fans. You know they're going to be barking crap. And you want to know what? That fan probably deserved it. They were probably turning around talking smack. It's what happens. It's what happens. I think it's a little to do about nothing. So what? Again, I'm not anti that guy trying to go find a lawyer. You know the Tim Misney of Jacksonville called that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, hey, man, I'll get you a case here. In that realm, yeah, I'd be like, dude, as long as you do all the work, I'm not paying you. So you got to take this case and only make, they'll get a fat slice of that and all that kind of stuff. Much to do about nothing. But David Tepper knows his team is a dumpster fire. That's why he threw that drink.
CJ Stroud returns for the Texans, and they get a win over the Titans. The news here is that, of course, now the Texans are looking into the playoffs as well with a win in Week 18. And for the Titans, pretty much the exact opposite here. Rumors that Mike Vrabel really is in a hot seat.
I don't even know about hot seat. If I'm him, I'm like, dude, get me out. Yeah, get me out of here. Get me out.
So could see a lot of change in Tennessee here next year.
I thought and I know Will Levis got hurt in that game. They had to turn it back over to Ryan Tannehill. This was the defensive game, man. Will Anderson, a couple of sacks. They had that strip sack fumble return for the touchdown. Titans are booty. Like, they're bad. They're really bad. And if I'm Mike Vrabel, that's the other problem with the Titans. It's some of these teams that you look at and there is no bright future, right? If you're a bad football team, but at least I can grab onto, I got this guy, right? Who do the Titans have? Seriously. Derrick Henry's not going to be there anymore. I don't think Will Levis is the answer. Ryan Tannehill's gone. Derrick Henry. Hopkins is like that is, and trust me, the Browns have been there for a long time. It's not just your team is bad and you don't win. It's you have no path to winning. Right now, it is so desolate. You are just roaming the desert of mediocrity in the NFL, and there is no water in sight. There's no help in sight. That is the Tennessee Titans. They got jack squat nothing going for them. And I'd move on from the coach, and somebody will take that job. I mean, Vrabel will just probably, dude, I'm better than this. I can coach better than this. Somebody will take it because it's one of 32. It's a real bad situation down there in Tennessee. It is.
The Rams get another win, Matt, and they somehow sneak their way into the playoffs. Credit to Sean McVay and Matt Stafford.
Yes.
And, of course, out of nowhere, Puka Nacua likely to, if not all but, win the Rookie of the Year offensively.
CJ Stroud or Puka?
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about CJ Stroud, but I would really give it to
AFC,
Puka.
NFC. I'd listen to Co. I'd listen to Co.
That's
I think
true.
they both deserve it.
I
mean, Stroud. Here's the thing. Stroud people etched it in their mind already. But what Puka Nacua has done has been incredible. Absolutely incredible. For that offense, for what they do, it's like he's the next Cooper Kupp, it seems to be. Spicy the game there for the Giants. They tried everything they could with Tyrod. Same thing. You assume Saquon's leaving. You don't feel good about Danny. I mean, we're at this point in the season now. You're taking stock of the offseason. I ain't buying New York Giants stock. They're not going to fire Brian Dable. They're not going to because he doesn't deserve it, in my opinion. But you're in a really bad spot. You are in a really bad spot. For the Rams, I mean, again, you would like to believe that they could have covered better in that game. They didn't. But Puka is a beast. Stafford seems to find. I don't know if I'd want to play the Rams in the wild card game. I don't know if I'd want to face them. As it stands right now, can I get you the playoff bracket right now?
Yeah, I'd imagine they'd be in Dallas.
If it ended today, they would be playing the Detroit Lions.
Oh, Detroit's ahead of Dallas, aren't they?
No, Dallas is 2 right now. Dallas would play the Packers.
Oh.
So, like, San Francisco gets the bye. Your 2-7 is Dallas Packers. Rams are the 6. They would face the 3-seeded Detroit Lions.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the Rams don't really have a chance to get up to 5 because I got to tell you, man, if they were the 5 seed and they were facing the Buccaneers, the Rams would be favored in that game. They would be, but there's no chance for that. They would play at Detroit. The Lions would be a 4.5-point favorite probably in that game, but the Rams are a little spicy. I don't know if I'd want to play them. Great story. Sean McVay's very good. Stafford's going to stay there, but they scream of a team that would like keep doing this veteran thing. You know what I mean? Like go get a discarded veteran or something. But they're going to roll with Stafford again next year. Great story. Great job by Sean McVay. Rams are in the playoffs yet again.
Well, if you saw me, Matt, when you were talking about typical earlier off camera, if you saw me.
Yeah, I saw you kind of give a little look there. What went bad for you? It's okay. It's an open space. You could tell me. What went bad for you?
I put together a really greasy, nasty parlay that was about to win me $300.
Well, I had a greasy parlay that actually the Rams cost me. Talking about the Rams, I had them -5.5, and all he did was win. So I lost my greasy parlay too. What was yours?
All I needed to do was the Eagles to win. And they decided to be the worst 4-loss team in the NFL.
They are broken.
Credit,
are they
I guess,
not
I
broken?
suppose, credit to Jonathan Gannon for going into his old stadium,
I guess,
giving the Eagles the business. But the Eagles,
they are broken.
Yes, they are.
They are broke, man. It's a mentality thing. It is a mental thing right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. But it continues to be what? The defense. That is it. It's the defense. You talk about Gannon. He's sitting there smiling, going, "You wish I kept her." You never keep a coordinator. They're always going to go take that head coaching job. And I know it's Kyler Murray, but bro, you let James Conner, who I never thought was all that good, rush for $128 on 5 yards a carry. You let Greg Dortch. It wasn't even dude. Their 2 leading receivers were their tight ends. What was that? The hangover finally hit him. If you indulge, we have all had the delayed hangover. And whether it's at a bachelor or bachelorette party, whether it's New Year's Eve, and what is the delayed hangover? Let me explain it to you, somebody that may or may not have had some of these in the past. You enjoy your evening. You wake up in the morning and you are shocked about how good you feel. Do you want to know what that is, Ryan?
Yeah, you're still drunk.
You're still drunk. And then about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that anvil straight out of Wile E. Coyote just drops on your head and you go, I want to die right now.
It's as soon as I eat in the morning.
Well, it's
or
like,
in the afternoon. Once I eat, get a meal in me.
But that's what you
it's
do.
like,
You're like, all right,
yeah.
I got to eat something. I got to drink something. I got to do all this. And then that anvil just drops on your head. The Eagles have hit their delayed hangover. Is that 4 straight losses for them now? They mixed in a win. They mixed in a win against
a crappy win against
the Giants.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's where we're right. They've won 4 out of their last 5. They have hit the delayed hangover. They need a body armor. It was what they need over there. They'll limp their way into the playoffs. I tell myself this as we get into the betting more and more. What I think one of my biggest betting takeaways all year, Ryan, has been this. Do not discredit the current. And what I mean by this is I could sit there and be like, oh my God, the Eagles. No, look at who they are right now. Look at who they are. And you want to know something I'm doing a lot more? Their last 3 games. Tell me what they have done in their last 3 games. That's all I really care about. Should have known. I'm sorry about your greasy parlay not happening. I feel really bad about it. I'm sorry.
All right.
But
it happens.
And the instantly go, oh, the Eagles will turn around the playoffs. They'll be just fine. I don't know, man. That defense is broke.
Well, the NFC South is going to come down to the wire as the Saints beat the Buccaneers. However, I still think it's the Bucs division to win here, but Baker's going to have to turn it up. And we all know the question going to be next year for the Bucs is if they think Baker is going to be their guy long term.
I think they've already here's my take. I think they're already too far down that path. You know what I mean? Like, he's shown enough. There's been reports out that he is going to stick around. And you could do a lot worse. Like, is Tampa really a destination? Do you want to go get Jimmy Garoppolo? Do you want to go get Kirk Cousins? I'd ride it back for Baker. The problem is kind of what we all saw with him. He just, a couple interceptions. It really wasn't him. They couldn't run the ball. Rachaad White was not a factor. They locked down Mike Evans relatively. Kind of locked him down there. Yeah, man, I think they're too far down the hole. They're going to stick it out with Baker here. They'll make the playoffs. I guess you want to look at it for the Saints that this was a must-win game for them. They tried to pull out all the stops there. Here's the crazy thing, dude. The Saints really should suck. Like, really, they have an electric defense. Offensively, they have all those weapons, but they never use. I really think the Saints are above a level. I think Dennis Allen's going to have a job. I do believe that. I can't get a vibe on the Saints. Good win for them. Try to keep things spicy here. And certainly games that we'll be watching this weekend that have a lot of impact.
Yeah, well, the 49ers, they throttle the Commanders. No shock there. The news there, obviously, is they lock up that number 1 seed in the NFC, and they will have a first-round bye.
Yeah, and I mean, you would like to say maybe they should have beat them worse than they did. They Sam Howell, like Jacoby Brissett got her. They had to go back to Sam Howell. Nothing really there. I guess a get-right game, after that loss last week for the 49ers. Still very dangerous. They get that number 1 seed. They'll sit everybody this week. Nothing real splashy here. I know they had some injuries. Christian McCaffrey left the game, but they're going to get everybody the week off. Sam Darnold to start. He'll sit everybody. Good for San Francisco. For Washington, they'll be looking for a head coach. They'll be looking for a quarterback. Can I ask just one thing of Josh Harris and the crew down there in D.C.? Let my guy, Scary Terry, get him out of there, please. For the love of God, don't let him waste away there. Get Terry McLaurin out of there. He's their only good player anymore. As an Ohio State fan, frankly, as a guy that I'd love to see on the Cleveland Browns, can you let Terry McLaurin go, please? I'd really appreciate that. Set him free. Set our guy Terry McLaurin away. Set him free, please do.
Steelers just refuse to die, Matt. They get a win in Seattle, put up 30 points, which is honestly pretty impressive.
Oh, wait,
all things considered. But I do think that game said a little bit more about Seattle than it did Pittsburgh. But Pittsburgh still vying for the playoffs here in the final
I mean, that's the game you finally are waiting for from Najee Harris. Couple of touchdowns. They ran the football. Again, it's exactly what you would think the Steelers to do. For Seattle, they got to get rid of Pete Carroll, man. I just think there's like a stink on it right now. Do you trust Geno Smith? I kind of thought that this would be a downturn year for Geno Smith after all the hype last year. He didn't play all that bad. 290, a touchdown, no interceptions. I mean, it's just the defense, I think, for Seattle, too, is not quite the same. Seattle's like this fringy team. Like, this is one of my new statements here, my new word for 2020. Fringy. They're a fringy team. They show up. Sometimes they don't. They lay an egg. I think Pittsburgh is fringy. Like how they did it with Mason Rudolph. They already made the declaration this week. They're not going to go back to Ken Pickett. Probably the right call there. Be nervous, folks. Pittsburgh is just a quarterback away. We don't want to believe that. You don't want to think that. I'd like to think Najee Harris is crap. I'd like to think their offensive line is crap. I'd like to think George Pickens is a head case and not good. The fact remains that Pittsburgh is a Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, Russell Wilson away. Not Russ, probably not. They're a quarterback away. They're a decent quarterback away from a contending team again. Be scared. Watch what they do this offseason. Because I got a really strong gut feeling they ain't running it back with Ken Pickett and Mason Rudolph. That's not happening. They're going to go get a quarterback and be afraid if they do.
The Chiefs win the AFC West, for what seems like the 900th year in a row.
Congratulations. Just lay it up. The one year, every year, everybody goes, oh my God, the AFC West. Oh my
How about
God.
them Chargers, right?
Oh, gee, just on a platter. handed it up there to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, but Matt, you talk about what these teams have done the last 3 games, and while Kansas City did get the win, they just can't seem to put the ball in the end zone like we've been accustomed to. And if I'm Kansas City, I'm kind of nervous going into the playoffs here, even though they will be an Arrowhead for the first round.
That's what I'm saying, man. You still got Patrick Mahomes, and I know that it's not been the same. The real bigger story is Kelsey. He has fallen off a cliff. Like, and I didn't watch all that. I watch Red Zone, so I see games here and there, but it's like they stopped throwing to him is what it is. Do you want a harebrained take? Do you want a lunacy take here on the Kansas City Chiefs? That they know they needed these other receivers to step up. That it can't all be about Travis Kelce. So maybe Andy Reid, in his genius, said, we're just going to throw to all these other guys. And there's going to be one of 2 outcomes. Number 1, they're actually going to step the hell up. Rashid Rice, Justin Watson,
Marquez dropped another one.
Yeah, Valdez Scantling. Who sat out of that game? Kadarius Toney was out of that game. Maybe he said, we're just going to throw the ball at these guys 1,000 times, and they're going to get it figured out. That's option number 1. Or option number 2. We'll throw them the football all the live long day. All these other teams will forget about Travis Kelce, and he'll show up in the playoffs and go off for 175 yards. I don't know. Kansas City seems like the ultimate blank around and find out team. I'd still be afraid. I would not want to play them in Arrowhead. They still have Patrick Mahomes. And if they're going to run the football like they did with Pacheco, they're going to be really hard to beat.
Broncos beat the Chargers 16-9, but doesn't really matter here, Matt. No real implications for either of the teams. Both of them are out of the playoff. I mean, I guess good for Broncos country, but they're going to have some questions they're going to have to answer real soon. And for the Chargers, just very clear on future.
Yeah.
I just said very clear on future. Very unclear.
I knew future. Maybe the clear is unfutured. I don't know.
Like Eric Ebron.
Well, of a different generation. When you say the clear, do you know what the clear is? Mm-mm. It's all the steroids that the guys in the baseball used to use. Like Barry Bonds was on the clear. Mark McGwire was on the clear. It was a steroid that was a gel. It was clear, and they'd rub it on them. So when you say the clear, I think of anabolic illegal steroid. But the clear is very unfutured there. Yes, for the Chargers. Still a destination. Would you agree with that? Still a destination spot with Justin Herbert?
If Herbert's there, still a destination.
What are you going to do with Austin Eckler?
He'll probably want to leave because they're not giving him the money he wants.
There's a world I give him the money. Here's the world for the Chargers, and what you could probably try to go to sleep in now in LA if you're worried about it. Bosa got hurt. Got guys in the secondary that got hurt. You lost Mike Williams. All those guys are going to come back. Justin Herbert will be back off the finger injury. You live in a world that your team is still built. You just got bad luck this year. You find the right coach, you find the right coordinator, and you can maybe turn things around there. For the Broncos, they're just, what are you going to do? They'll cut Russ post June 1. The thing is, they still got to eat so much money. Who's going to go play quarterback there? Is Sean Payton a guy that a free agent quarterback would feel like, man, I really want to go play for Sean Payton? I don't know. You know what? We don't have time today to do it. We need to do the quarterback carousel sometime this week and go who needs one and who's available. And like the list of available, Garoppolo, potentially Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and then sit there and go, who needs one? Pittsburgh, Denver, Minnesota. Like, we'll do that someday this week. We can't do it today, but we'll do it someday this week.
Yeah, well, unless you have something to say about this Packers game, it wasn't a very good one. Packers throttled the Vikings. Vikings are out of the playoffs.
I would just
Packers
sit here
to get there.
I would just sit here and gloat that I was astonished that Minnesota was still a 1-point favorite in that game with Jaron Hall. I'll tell you what I did. Alternate spread, Packers -4.5. Thank you. Typico, Big Play 100. Use that code. And I say this, I trust me, we'll look at our scores coming up. That was free money. That was the freest of free money. Absolutely free. It was a great win there for the Packers. Vikings cooked, fried, done.
Well, I wanted to save this game for last because I know we'll be talking about it for a little bit, but everybody watching Saturday night saw the Lions basically, no other way to put it, get absolutely screwed.
Oh, they got a job. They got a job.
And And here we are yet. It seems like, Matt, it was almost the cherry on top to what's been an absolute tumultuous season of officiating here in the NFL.
So, how Shakespearean is it that at this point of the season, you have the biggest blunder? It literally is like a play. You could not write a movie any better than this, that the climax of the season, what comes after the climax in a movie, Ryan? Falling action is what it's called. I am a film minor, by the way, from Baldwin Wallace University College. Perfect timing to have just this monumental is what it is. What? And I know they already took Brad Allen and his crew out of the playoffs and all this other kind of stuff. I laugh because it wasn't my team. I don't really care. People could scream about, oh, it could happen to you or could it not. I don't care. Like, I'm watching the world burn. I love it. This is great. I love the NFL having to answer for this. I do feel bad for Detroit, but in reality, I don't care. What do I care? I don't. Here's the thing. I said this earlier. I know it's a little crazy, but I got to say, that is on Dan Campbell. That is on, don't run that play. I've not seen this anywhere. I start with the base level that those officials should be fired. You were not paying attention in a job that the number one requirement for you is to pay the hell attention. And you didn't. That is a fireable offense. And I'm sure the NFL is going to discipline these guys. They didn't do their number one priority of their job. They got duped. They were not paying attention, okay? That is number one. I say that to say all of this. Dan Campbell, don't run that play. And I know your comeback would be, well, the officials need to do their freaking jobs. I want to run this play. I should not be held back on what the officials are doing or not. Here's a memo to all 32 NFL teams, including Dan Campbell after the game. The officials are idiots. Remember that. You want to run some tricky play, and I know Dan Campbell said, I told them before the game, just start with, they're going to screw it up. Take it out of their hands. Don't run that play there, knowing that they're probably going to screw it up. And lo and behold, what did they do? They fucked it up. They did. Bad. But people this morning, I think, are missing, or even just on Sunday, or, as I talked about the last couple of days, I'm putting a little bit of that on Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. Don't run that play. Now, that wasn't a playoff game. Let's also, this is the new lightning rod in the NFL. People get it, and there's fake outrage. There's a lot of fake outrage going around. That's why I said I don't really care. I really don't. It was fun fodder. It's fun to sit there and complain about. And yeah, the Lions are freaking. You guys are in the playoffs. Who cares? And there's a bigger issue with the NFL. Now, can I be transparent with everybody for a minute? I lost money on that game. Not a lot, because I don't bet a lot, pizza money, but I lost money on that game. So yes, I could technically sit there and be outraged. Now, to be honest with you, I lost money when they scored the touchdown, because they weren't going to cover anyway. My only hope was that they were going to go to overtime. Dallas takes the ball, scores a touchdown, and then they stop him. Didn't happen, whatever. That's the life of absurd. But my whole point is, I don't really care. The NFL, they have to care, and they've got to get this kind of stuff figured out because, yeah, there's sports betting on the line. There could be a playoff game. I guess that's where it could have been this. It could have been a Super Bowl. It could have been a win and get in playoff game type of thing. It wasn't.
Can you imagine if that was a Super Bowl?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can sit there and say that now, but you just better hope that it doesn't happen. But it is just so perfect that it happened right now. In the year that the officiating has been abysmal, that it's been all these, and what's the fix? I don't know, right?
Full-time refs.
Well, I mean, you and I have debated that, and we had that fun run through the list that a guy's a financial advisor. There's another NFL referee that is 9 to 5.
High school
basketball coach and an athletic administrator. Does that truly solve the problem, though? If you told these guys you get enough money, because a lot of those guys, they make good money doing lawyers and all that other kind of stuff, to go to them and say, we're going to pay you, which is kind of crazy. What do you think a fair salary for an NFL referee would be? This is their full-time job. This is all they do.
I would say, Yeah, so full-time job, this is all they do, and this is me paying you because I expect you to be like hawk-eyeing every single thing. Like, this is your job. We're getting these calls right. I'll throw him $100,000.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But how much do you think they're giving him part-time?
Do you know how much they make right now?
No.
$205,000 right now. Yeah, that's what they make right now. And by the way, that is an average. There are guys that I know that make $400,000 being an NFL referee.
Then that should be enough.
I don't know. That's not enough, Ryan. That's not. I'm here to tell you, it's not. I'd bump that. I'd give them because here's. Do you want to know the first number I thought of?
$400,000?
I would give them $800,000 a year. I would, because you can't screw this up anymore.
I agree. I agree.
You can't screw this up anymore. Now, the first thing that I thought of was you would pay these officials more than some players, and then I stopped myself to say this. They're more important than some players. They're more important than some backup special teams guy that they're making. You got to send the money that way. The money solves most problems here. I think it solves this problem. You make them full time and year in. But here's the thing. Brad Allen, who screwed that up, he knows the rules. What would you do? And I joked about this. Sit them down in a room and go Clockwork Orange on their ass. You hold their eyelids open while you force them to watch tape on what holding is and what DPI is. Does that actually solve? Because you could do all of these things. You could hammer them over the head with the rule book and just beat the hell out of them of what it is. You still have to implement it on the field. You get what I'm saying? Brad Allen knows the rules, and he still screwed it up in the moment. Screwed it up. And here's the other thing. Do you know what's going to happen? This is going to be a giant point of emphasis. I want you to remember that phrase because that is something the NFL does a lot of. Point of emphasis. And a couple of years ago, the point of emphasis was holding. This year, point of emphasis, defensive holding and illegal contact. And you've seen it go out the butt. What is this now going to be? Oh, a point of emphasis on players marking themselves as eligible? How often does that happen? That's my fear. That's my fear. It's that they will become so singularly focused on this one really kind of minute and stupid thing. This happens maybe, twice a game? If that? It just happened to be at this moment. So, if anything, if I'm the NFL, I go, you know what? That actual play is not the issue. Put that aside. I don't want them to start devoting all their time to saying, how can we make players marking themselves as eligible better? Don't worry about that. Worry about your officials. Sit down with your officials. And here's a tough conversation with Brad Allen. Bro, what really happened? Seriously. What really happened? Did you not hear him? Or, and maybe you need to do this in a quiet room with no cameras, and maybe with just Raj, I don't know. Ask him the real question. Did you hear him? And you just didn't react. Because, okay, and I apologize because we have not given full context of this, Ryan. So here's what happened. They're going for 2 to win the game. They bring in an extra offensive lineman. Taylor Decker, who is their left tackle, you can see on the video, walks up to Brad Allen and allegedly told that I am eligible. You see when they do this move on the field, this player is now eligible to catch a pass because linemen aren't supposed to be unless you declare yourself eligible. But then also Dan Skipper, a backup offensive lineman, came in. He did not report as eligible because he had to take over for Decker. They throw the play, Decker catches it, and they say illegal touching. I think it's this, right? Illegal touching. Or that's loss of down. This, illegal touching. You're right. Thank you. Because Decker, according to Brad Allen, did not declare himself eligible. Now, here's the other kind of smoking gun in this. They never announced Dan Skipper as being eligible either. I missed that. Did they say that? And then Brad Allen comes out and goes, no. Skipper said he was eligible, not Taylor Decker. And then Taylor Decker says that's lie. He goes, I did it exactly as I was supposed to be coached. Dan Campbell about blew a blood vessel in the game after freaking out about it. I don't doubt that the Lions practiced this, knew that it was of a legal system and a legal play. So why would they not execute it that way? That's my biggest question on it. The answer is Brad Allen screwed up. You know that. I know that. He knows that. And the NFL knows that. How do you avoid that? I don't know. I don't think making them full-time. Okay, this is going to sound really bad, and I apologize, but it is what it is. It does not fix airheadedness. It doesn't. It does not fix a giant brain fart. And that is what Brad Allen did on Saturday night. Giving them $800,000 a year to be full-time referees doesn't fix that. And the other thing, that's not a guy that's like his first-year refereeing. He's a veteran-laden NFL referee. Screwed it up.
Did they announce the Super Bowl crew yet?
No, they won't. They don't do that until like later in the year. So what they do now is, of all the crews that they have, they get graded out, and then now they'll pick their playoff crews. Now, the Super Bowl crew, I'm shooting from the hip here, they're almost always work 2 other playoff games too. Because if like you're the best crew, you're going to work 3 playoff games, usually like a wild card game, maybe in a divisional game. I don't know if the teams always do the AFC or NFC championship game, but you'll get a couple of series or a couple of games, and then they'll do the Super Bowl as well. They rotate that on through. You got to be veteran. You got to all that kind of stuff. He's out. I mean, here's the thing. Brad Allen's going to be out of a job. Like that massive a screw up, it's borderline going to cost you your job. Now, we've had conflicting things with referee. Every time I see Terry McCulley, every time I think a bottle game. That wasn't a screw up as in you didn't interpret the rules right. That was they apparently buzzed down for the replay, and then the Browns kicked the extra point, and then he came back after, and everybody wanted to kill him. Every time I see him, he angers me. But the thing is, like, I don't pretend to know what it's like to be an NFL referee and how hard the job is, but here's the thing. It is your job. Can't do that. Grand scheme of it, I don't really care. Like, am I wrong, Ryan? Do you think there's a lot of fake outrage with this?
Yeah, I mean,
it's the
a
fun
cool thing to hate on referees
It's
right
the
now.
thing to hate on in the NFL right now.
But if you're outside of Detroit and you're not a
right.
Lions fan, you don't care at all. I don't care. I if you would have sat here, tell me who would I want to win, I would have picked the Lions. Do I really care? No, I don't. If it happened to the Browns, I'd be the first one up in arms.
Trust me, we'd be freaking out.
Marching to Goodell's office. But but it's a matter of the sport. It's unless you find a way to fix it, which I don't even know if that's really possible. It's just the nature of the sport. So
it's kind of maybe a sad reflection of our society that people have fake outrage for things that they really shouldn't care about. You know what I mean? Like, and let's talk politics in today's day and age, but it is what it is.
Well, when people care about that Taylor Swift ate chicken fingers for lunch, people are going to worry about the craziest things.
Is that a thing?
You don't remember that?
Oh,
pictures of her in the Chiefs lounge.
I thought you meant like this weekend there was something else.
Like they're like,
God, I could go
have
some good
hour
chicken.
conversations about what Taylor Swift had for lunch.
Best chicken tenders. Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's.
I don't get the tender. I get the sandwich, but it's Chick-fil-A. It's not even close.
I might go there for lunch. It sounds delicious. All right, let's. Wait, do you want to do time hop real quick?
If you think you can run through it.
The only thing I was going to bring up that really mattered. Well, okay, there's 2 things that matter. Number 1 year ago today, DeMar Hamlin. 1 year ago. Crazy. So I'm happy that he's
also
doing well.
Donovan Mitchell, right? That was the same night when Donovan scored 71, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
I'll believe that. Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was. You're right. Oh, my gosh. Good. So here's the thing. I didn't have time hop done, so I had to put it together today. So Donovan scored. All right. The other one is 2 years ago today, Antonio Brown. Remember when he ripped off all of his stuff and then he had to go get an Uber after the game? That happened this day, 2020. Yep, that's what it is. So I had a bunch of bowl games, other stuff, but yeah, that's a quick time out. All right, let's get to our 2 for Tuesdays. 2 questions, 2 answers. As always, first off, call your shot. National championship, Washington, Michigan. Got a lot of Ohio State fans, I think. 63-37. People are going with Washington.
That's such a lie.
I mean, Michigan rightly favored. I will not. I will donate that $20 to Tipico if needed. I'm gonna take Washington all the live long day on that.
I mean, they've been proving us wrong all year, so.
Well, I mean, and Penix was outstanding in that game.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, he was really a lot of fun. I was kind of shocked. I mean, I felt a little conflicted because I thought Texas would be able to put up the points, and they did. But it was a fun football game. And then the second one, 2 for Tuesday. Do you prefer going in or staying out on New Year's? Staying in 90-10. 90-10 staying in on the New Year's Eve, which is great. I love it. So do I. All right, we're going to be back. Quick programming. We're back full. Now, we're going to be here all week, so we'll get you geared up for a big weekend coming up. It's going to be nice. Kind of sit down with the Browns, relax for the week. I think we'll get some more news as the week goes on of who's sitting, who's going to be missing practice. And there's a debate to be had. There's going to be a debate to be had about which guys can afford to take a week off. Because the rust versus rest conversation will be had. I'm sure we'll get back into a little bit more tomorrow. Cavs are in action tomorrow night. One other thing, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to email it to myself. I'm excited for this. We didn't get to it today, but the 5 juiciest stories for the NFL offseason. The 5 juiciest stories. Well, really, I guess Cody Benjamin did it for CBS Sports. It's the 5 juiciest stories right now in the NFL, but some of them tie into the offseason. The Cleveland Browns are one of those. So we'll save that for tomorrow's show. Cavs are back in action tomorrow night as well, so we'll get our typical boost rolling for there. The only thing for tonight for me on my viewing, if you will, the Jackets are in action tonight.
Okay.
The Blue Jackets suck.
Are they on Bally's? Is that what you watch them on?
They're on Bally's. They're taking on the Bruins tonight. They're supposed to get throttled. I might take them plus a goal and a half.
I don't.
That's why I got nothing
Who's the
on my
best
bet.
team in the NHL right now? Do we know?
Don't even know. It's the thing. I'm not an NHL fan. I'm just a Blue Jackets fan. Okay. I just watched them. Rough go of it for my Jackets right now, but nonetheless, that's pretty much it for our betting. I'm done with college basketball. Done. I never got started with it, to be honest with you, but we'll see. Great stuff today. Appreciate everybody joining us. We're back in the new year. Chico 12-2 today. Is it Tuesday?
Yes, it
the
is.
bald, boom, bald, bold breakdown.
Yep.
I always had beautiful because I think Nick Shook and Chico are good-looking guys. The bold, bald breakdown is today.
Not many of them
12-1. We only got a couple left. So it's Nick Shook in for the hour with Chico, looking back on all the Browns, but also I know they're going to talk a lot of NFL around the slate. Shook is somebody you got to listen to. Coming up at noon with Chico. Big Play Channel, Chico Borman Show on Twitter and on YouTube as well. It's all over wherever you need it. So we're good for today. And then tonight, Josh Marie on the return. And I think that's it for our shows today, right?
Yep.
There it is. So follow us at Big Play on Twitter, on YouTube, Facebook, all over. Folks, first showdown for 2024. Appreciate everybody joining us as always. We're back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana for the first time in 2024. As always, take it easy.